One of the hardest parts about being an entrepreneur is that you can become your job. And it's interesting because if you can think back to the beginning stages of starting your business, there was this zest and this passion that was very much alive. You felt excited, you saw the potential, you saw the opportunity. And the more that you do the work, the bigger that you grow, the more disconnected you feel from that passion. And the more that your time is primarily spent in your business. And so, what I want to talk about today is honoring your creativity, the reality of needing passion and honoring time for passion projects outside of your work. And how do we do that? And what does it look like? And why are we not doing it? Right? So, we are usually not spending any sort of time on passion projects or creative ideas simply because we tell ourselves we don't have the time, telling ourselves that our business is the way in which we're providing for our families, and so that has to always come first. And this is the type of thinking that creates businesses that require so much from us that it's not sustainable, which is where we get burnout, which is where we get health issues, which is where our relationships start to deteriorate. And so really, if you feel like that you can't pursue any sort of passion project, if you feel that you can't look into or explore any sort of creative endeavor, we need to be evaluating what is broken in the business that's not allowing that. Because if we think about why we become entrepreneurs, and for many of us, there is that passion, there is some element of personal story, there is a level of impact, there is the legacy that we want to leave behind. We all have different variants of our why. But every single person wanted to be able to create life on their own terms, to be able to have freedom of choice. And so what I see happening so often is that not only does our identity become our business, along with being mothers, which is another hat that we wear that can easily become who we are. So we're getting so tied to these two identities that we've adopted that we forget about what it feels like to be passionate or excited about something. Or we think that if it's not moving the needle or it's not productive, it's not necessary. And that everything that we do and all the time that we spend on things should be tied to something bigger, should be tied to providing for our family, should be tied to getting a result or an achievement or an accolade. And this is, again, what keeps us stuck in when we have space for creativity, when we have space for passion, excitement, play, fun, whatever it may be, we instead fill it with work. And so one of my clients was really struggling because she has this very successful business and she has such great ideas that she has even built out structures around other businesses for, that she is just not actively pursuing. And that's the problem, is that at the core of who we are, to be an entrepreneur, you have to have some sort of desire to create. You have to be willing to be innovative and have new ideas. But if we keep having new ideas that come to us and we keep shoving those ideas down and avoiding and ignoring those ideas, eventually life feels pretty flat. And that's what we're trying to avoid here. I'm not somebody who believes that we should have like this incredible, like, wake up every day and everything should be big and fancy and passionate and we should always feel. I think that sets us up to fail in a different way in believing that or trying to achieve that. But what I do believe is that we need space to pursue things that are not work. We need space to take ideas that we have, be that something for your home or another business or art or a hobby you want to explore. We need some sort of space to pursue something that we're either already passionate about, or an idea that we have, or something that allows us to develop and evolve as humans. If we just do the same thing day in and day out, it becomes mundane, we get bored, and then we start creating problems that may not have even existed. And so passion projects and creativity and fun and play aren't things that are reserved for a certain milestone that you hit. And if you're telling yourself, well, I can have that space after I reach here, I think that's another problem that we continue to repeat to ourselves that keeps us stuck. We believe that the success of our business is dependent on us being and acting the way that we always have. But it's okay for us to say who I was when I created this business and what I had to give then looks different now. And to be willing to look at the structure of the business and all the intricacies of the business and the team and the support that we have and how we're marketing and all of the pieces, to say, does this actually reflect the life that I want to live? Is this actually reflective and allowing me to be a human outside of my business? Just because it worked previously doesn't mean that we don't need to be asking the question, is it still working? Is it still working for me, or is it only working for everybody else? You have creative ideas, you have things that sound nice that you would love to do if you had time. Everybody has these things, but they die so quickly because we tell ourselves that it's not possible. And so if we want to keep these things alive, we have to start with evaluating how we're spending our time now and what our role is in not allowing space or time for those things, right? I think that that's where people are so quick to cut themselves off at the knees in, well, I just don't have time. My business is too busy. Why is it that you set up a business that made you so busy that you can't live outside of that business, but also you're in control? The two things don't match up. The math isn't mathing. You're in control. And so if you want to be able to have time and space to pursue creative passions, to create different lanes for yourself, to do things outside of your work, you first need to understand that you're the problem, right? It's in personal responsibility and accountability. That's where your freedom is found. And once you take that responsibility, once you say, you know what, I have created my business in a way that requires so much from me, I can also shift the way that I do business moving forward. And most business owners know this logically, but either lose sight of the control that they have and feel powerless, or it's too scary to make the change. But if you have sucked out all the enjoyment of your life for a business, then you might as well be working for somebody else, because you're not acting as if you work for yourself. So I really just want you to be reminded of that you have more control. And if you want to pursue creative passions, if you want to do something different, if you want to try something new, if something doesn't feel good, if you have an idea that you would love space and time to expand on or talk about or pursue, you have control of that. It's when you tell yourself that you don't have control because you blame something that is external, that is outside of you, that is where you're giving your power away. That is where you're saying, well, that is out of my control, and so there's nothing I could do. And I know that you are not a victim to your circumstances. Making time for creativity and making time for things that you are passionate about outside of your work requires structural change. And so I want you to do a few things for that structural change. I want you to look at your tasks and responsibilities as the CEO of your business. And what in your tasks and responsibilities are you still holding on to that needs to be delegated? What in your tasks and responsibilities are you holding on to that needs to be let go of? What in your tasks and responsibilities is only on your tasks and responsibilities because you're micromanaging? And be honest with yourself. I find so much time in my clients' schedules by just taking away things that are not necessary for them to have on their plate. We just become accustomed to doing certain things and doing things our way. And it feels harder in the moment to teach somebody our way. But we have to start thinking about the long term. You create a successful business to build wealth, to have freedom of choice. So let's not take away our own freedom. So we're going to make structural changes in the business by looking at our tasks and our responsibilities. And then we're also going to look at the business as a whole. Where are we seeing continuous problems that maybe we've put Band-Aids on? What sort of solutions do we need to those problems that are going to be more from a long-term approach? Where do we need to create more clarity and reset expectations across the team, with clients? These are the types of communications that can create a lot of resistance or can create a lot of mental load for CEOs. You can rewrite the rules of your business and how you do business at any point in time. And so I want you to look at the structure and the foundation, even down to your services and your offerings. If you're offering something that is not profitable, why are you still offering it? If you're offering something that may be profitable, but it drains you and drains your team, how can you do that differently? So I want you to look at the operations of your business and any clogs and problems there. I want you to look at your services and offerings. I want you to think about the communication to clients and to team and how you can be more clear in any expectations that need to be reset. And that's your structural change. That's us looking at the foundation. That's us looking at the business. And then in you, I want you to understand that when you get these ideas or when something sounds fun or you have that thought of like, oh, I wish I could do that. I want you to start pursuing that. I want you to start watching the words that you are thinking and start challenging those thoughts that you have. Because right now you have a lot of ingrained thoughts that prevent you from being who you want to be and pursuing those things. And so when those thoughts come in of like, I would love to go to a pottery class, I just don't have time. I want you to hear that and then I want you to challenge it. Actually, I can make time for that. I can make time for that because that would be fun for me. That would fill my cup. And if my cup is full, I'm a better mother and I'm a better leader. We have to start challenging those thoughts instead of just accepting them for what is. And so you need to shift your mind to see the importance of pursuing creativity and passion outside of your work. We need the structural change that will alleviate the time and give you the space. And we need the mindset and the thought pattern change so that we can actually make the change that will be required of us to be proactive, to take initiative, to step forward and to make these changes, because you don't want to be 3, 5, 10, 15 years from now looking back and thinking, what did I do but work? So start challenging those thoughts that are coming in. It's not that you don't have time. It's that you're not prioritizing it because it doesn't feel like it's important. And it doesn't feel important because it's not currently something that you're registering as connected to building greater success. because that is what we're all after, right? To be successful. What is success to you? Redefine that. Does it feel successful to continuously hit revenue milestones but be exhausted, to wake up every morning with a heavy mental load, or to have sleepless nights from everything going on in your head, to not feel present with your family? Does that feel successful? Your enjoyment of life is how you measure your success. If you're succeeding professionally and you're failing personally, you aren't successful. But it's up to you to change that. You have the power as the CEO. You built your business for freedom, for flexibility, to be a provider, and to be able to enjoy your life. Don't lose sight of that. If you need assistance in the structural change of your business to be able to create more freedom and flexibility, make sure that you download my Female Founders Freedom Framework. It is going to walk you through the changes necessary in 8 different areas of your business, which some of them I mentioned today, and gives you an actionable to-dos, non-negotiables, everything that you need to be able to have a business that is more based and anchored in freedom and flexibility, that then will allow you to pursue the things that you really want to do in this life. You are a human outside of your business. We need to honor those human needs, and we need to make sure that we have space and time to do that. So make sure you download that. We will put that in the link below here. Thank you for watching, and I will be back next week with another video. Enjoy your time, and remember, you are in control.